Dear students, welcome back to Object-Oriented Programming using Java. This is V.S. Kumar, Department of Computer Science, Archer Degree College, Kakinada. In the last section, I explained a simple and easy and useful programs, that is pattern design. Why we are going to write such programs? Because it improves the knowledge, skill development. That's why you must aware how you are going to create nested loops. According to the loops, how you are going to get the output. That is the important one. And in this section, I am going to give you one topic, that is what is called it as series. So here the purpose of this series is, maybe you are going to see in more number of examples, that how we are going to derive such type of series. For example, I want to find S. S equal to 1 plus 1 by 2 square plus 1 by 3 square plus 1 plus 1 by 4 square plus 1 by 5 square plus 1 by 6 square plus up to 1 by n square. This is the series I want to evaluate. That means I want to find the S value. So a Java program for solving the power series. So in this example you may find it here, 1 means 1 by 1 square, of course it will be 1. 1 square means 1, 1 by 1, 1. So here in the upper part you may see there is a 1, and in the lower part 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, 5 square, 6 square, 7 square, up to n square. Up to n square. So what you required? What is n? If you are going to enter n value 3, I need to find up to 3. If you want to find n value 5, up to 1 by 5 square. Like this, you are going to find the n value. According to the n value, you are going to calculate this S value. Calculate the S value. This is what is called it as power series evaluation. So here in this series, the input is n value. Then you need to evaluate the whole expression, but calculating the entire expression at a time is not possible, because if n value is 20, again writing 1 plus 1 by 2 square plus 1 by 3 square plus 1 by 4 square up to 20 is okay, you may write. But the problem is, in the next iteration, instead of 20 I am going to give you 3, again you need to write the expression. That means what is the program you are writing, that program must be suitable to run any value you are giving for n. That is important. So that's why here you required up to n times you need to create a loop. That means in the first iteration take I value 1, then it will be 2, then it will be 3, then it will be 4, up to I less than or equal to n, because I have to calculate n also. This is what I want now. Okay. Now in this concept you may see here class name, public static void main. Okay. Of course, remember one important thing, when you are using scanner, when you are using scanner, no need to define throws IO exception. You require IO exception when you are writing buffered reader. Buffered reader, in that moment you require this throws IO exception. Why we are defining this throws IO exception? I told you already. Because buffered reader is a class that is useful to read characters or strings from a file, not from keyboard. Buffered reader allows you to read strings from a file. That is part of buffered reader. But the thing is, some situations we want to give, not some situations, almost all situations we are going to give values through keyboard. For that reason, for that concept, we need to change the reading from file to keyboard. In that moment where you define throws IO exception. Okay. Now of course, I am writing scanner. By default, scanner allows you to read from keyboard. You may see here system.in represents keyboard. Okay. So scanner BR equal to new scanner. Here I told you in this expression what I want now, I need n value. So that I define n as integer. But whatever the result you are calculating, yes or sum or series, what it may be, that answer always will be real. That means either float or double, because there will be division operation is there. Whenever there is division operation, exactly there will be the answer in real format. Okay. So now come down. So n value is, I am reading n value. For example, according to the previous example, n value I taken 3. N value I taken 3. That means I want to calculate this equation only. This series only up to 3. This is n. If I give n value 6, up to 1 by 6 square. Like that, if I am now I entered 3, that's why I have to calculate 1 by 1 square plus 1 by 2 square plus 1 by 3 square. If it is 4, again additional one more term plus 1 by 4 square. Okay. So in this moment, you may find it. If n greater than 0. If n greater than 0. Why I am writing if statement? It is not required. It is not required, because to perform the calculation on this series, one of the important thing, n value must be always positive. When a user enters, when user enters any negative number, I don't want to calculate. So I don't want to perform this calculation. So that's why here I mention, if n value greater than 0, assume what my n value 3. 3 is greater than 0. So condition is true. So it will come to the next line. If it is a negative value, I don't want to calculate. So that for this if, okay, this is the if true block. If the condition is false, system out dot println, you enter the wrong number. It will show the message, you enter the wrong number. Okay. So here if the condition is true, it is going to calculate your series. If you enter the negative number, then it will display you enter the wrong number. Okay. Now come down. Sum is 0 initially. Okay. We will write here. So n value I given 3. Sum initially 0. Because at a time I am not in the position to calculate. First I will calculate 1 by 1 square. I will add this answer to sum. Then again I will make I value to 2. I will calculate 1 by 2 square. I add this answer to sum. Means already the previous answer is there in sum. Now the second value I will add it to sum. Then I will go for 1 by 3 square. I add that answer to sum. Now come down. For int I1, I less than to n, I plus plus. What is I value? I value 1. Come to the next line. Now come to this place. Here I value 1. Okay. I value 1 means this is the one I want to calculate. This is the first term I want to calculate. So already I value 1, as you know already. So come down, I value 1 up to n value 3. I less than or equal to 3. That means I value 1, 1 loop, 2, 3. 3 times, because I have the 3 terms. Now come down. Here 1 by 1 square. See this answer? What I have to calculate? 1 by 1 square. How I am writing 1 square? 1 into 1. 1 by 1 square I want. So already you may see here 1 is fixed by 1 square. So I into I, because I is already 1, I is already 1, 1 into 1. Okay. This will be calculated I by I into I. Now here you may see this. This is called typecasting. Explicit typecasting, because 1 is integer and I into I is also integer. Integer by integer, result is integer. But you will not get the accurate answer. So that's why here 1 I am converting it into float. So that's why in the above value it is float, in below it is integer. So float by integer, always result will be float. The result float I am adding to sum. Now come to this place. 1 square means 1. 1 by 1, 1. I am adding this 1 to sum. That means first one is over. First term is over. Now coming to second one. Okay. So here there is no brace for this for statement. There is no brace. It means if condition is true, this only statement will be executed and then it will go back to for. But going back to for, now I value will be 2. Now come down, what I have to calculate? What I have to calculate? 1 by 2 square I want to calculate. So that see here, 1 by, I value already 2, 2 square. So 2 square means 4, 1 by 4, 0.25. Okay. So here 1 will be float, that is float by 2 square 4. You get the answer. Okay. So that answer, what is the 0.25 is there, that answer will be added to sum. Already the sum value is 1, this means 1.25. You get the answer. Now the next one, again go back, this time I value 3. I also ask up to 3 only. So come down, 1 by 3 square. 3 square means 3 into, sorry, 3 into 3. 3 3s are 9, 1 by 9. You get the answer, that answer will be added to sum. Okay. Now you get the answer really. Of course 1.89, assume 1.89. Now again it will go back, this time I value 4, but I asked you up to I value 4, n value 3. Is it 4 less than or equal to 3? False, it will come down. So it will print the answer, sum of series, that is 1.85 something. Okay, it will print like this. And then once the block is over, it will go out. So this will be the concept. Means instead of performing the entire series at a time, where I divided the series, this is the first iteration, the second iteration, the third iteration. In each iteration, 1 is common and above 2 is okay. Here the first term 1, then it will be 2, then it will be 3. That's why I generated 1, 2, 3 numbers through I, for I. Through I am generating. Okay. And also, as you know already, Java supports some free form of declaration. That means you declare a variable within the for loop. But this I is only allowed within these 2 lines only. Within these 2 lines. If you try to use I anywhere, it gives error, because this is called block declaration. Block declaration means the place in which block you declare the variable, within the block the variable lives. Okay. So this is the example of this, a series. Okay. Like this you are going to observe lot of examples. For example, series equal to 1 plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial, so on up to x to the power of n by n factorial. You may see such type of series. Here you need to give input x. This process x square, x cube, x to the power of 4, x to the power of 5 up to going on n. So in this, when you are writing such type of program, you need to read x value and n value. Then you need to calculate x square by 2 factorial. In the second iteration, x cube by 3 factorial. How do you get this 2 factorial? How do you get this 3 factorial? Like this, you divide the series into different terms, and each time you are going to calculate the coming answer. You need to add it to sum. This is the concept of this series. Okay. So observe the following series program. Okay. This is your program. So s equal to 1 by 1 square. This is the series. Yeah, 1 plus 1 by 2 square plus 1 by 3 square plus 1 by 4 square plus up to 1 by n square. Okay. Now the next topic is conditional operator. In some situations, you may find this answer in short questions, short answers. Okay. So of course, a lot of times your seniors find this following question. So conditional operators. Conditional statements are different to conditional operators. Of course, the way the function will be similar, but it is called operator, they are called statements. If is a statement, not operator. Switch is a statement, not operator. For, while, do while. Everything is called statements. But here, there is a word called conditional operator. Basically, we write the conditional operator like this, question mark, colon, question mark, colon. This is called condition operator. This condition operator is also called ternary operator. This condition operator is also called ternary operator. What is the meaning of ternary? We have three types of operators. Unary operator, binary operator, ternary operator. Unary operator, binary operator, ternary operators. So just to read the topic operators. Unary operator, binary operator, ternary operators. A operator is nothing but a symbol which performs particular operation. For example, plus 5 plus 2. So along with 5, I given two values 5 and 2. Here 5 and 2 are called operands. Plus is called operator. I used this plus between two operands. When you are using any operator between two operands, it is called it as binary operator. Example, 5 plus 2 or 5 into 2 or 5 by 2, A greater than B. Everything will be called binary. Unary operator. Most unary operators means negation symbols, that is plus 5, minus 2, or A plus plus, not, n. That means here the not symbol means logical not, logical operator. I am using this not operator along with n. N is a single operand and not is single operator. Here A is operand, double plus is operator. A is an operand, double plus is operator. So this will be called unary operator. This is called binary operator. This is called ternary operator. Ternary means we use this operator along with three operands. So single operand, that is A is operand, single operand, if you are using an operator, it is called unary operator. Here A. When you are using an operator along with the two operands, it is called binary. When you are using an operator, that is the symbol, along with three operands, it will be called conditional operator, or it is also called ternary operator. Okay. This operator consists of three operands and is used to evaluate Boolean expressions. The result what it is going to give you is either true or false, just like if statement. That's why some people are going to say it is called immediate if. Of course, the scope is very limited compared to if statement. The scope is very limited because you may observe that if has a very broad scope because if condition within the brace you may write any number of lines, that is true part. Else within the brace you write any number of statements, that is false. Like here also, here it is a simple short if. So that the scope of this operator is very narrow. Within that narrow where we are going to use. Okay. The goal of the operator is to decide which value should be assigned to the variable. That is the concept of conditional operator. Now see this. I told you this is ternary operator. So you may find it. Here there is a 1. Here it is a 2. Here it is 3. There are three operands. When a operator used along with three operands, it will be called it as ternary. You may find it, there will be a symbol question mark colon. This is what the symbol of conditional operator. Okay. What is the meaning of this one? Here, whatever the expression is there in the first part, the expression of the condition is there in the first part, it will check by system. Here the expression of the condition will check by system. If the expression is true, then whatever the content is there after question mark, value if true, in the place what are the variable you are using, what are the message you are giving, that variable or the message will go directly into variable x. Will go directly into variable x. In case if the expression is false, expression is false, immediately it skips this question mark and go to value if false. If false, it will go directly to x. So variable x equal to expression question mark value if true, colon value if false. This is what is called, the operator is written as like this. So this is the concept. That means the selection of either the value if true or value if false, only one is possible according to the expression value. If the expression value is true, the first one; if the expression value is false, second one. But remember, here the expression and the value if true, between there must be question mark. There must be question mark, and between value if true and value if false, between colon, 2 dots. This will be the condition operator. Now we'll see a small example. Here there is a small example. You may find it, as usual, it's a simple class. I am using 2 variables a and b. A value will be 10. A value will be 10. That's all. I am not, it's just only example. It is not a problem. Just an example. A value initially I have taken 10. Now come down. This is called expression. This is called true. This is called false. A equal to 1. Double equal to, remember double equal to means equal to. Is the A value equal to 1? No. A value is 10 but not 1. So condition is false. When condition is false, what happened? I told you already, value if false. So here the condition is false. That's why colon after what is there? 30. This 30 will be transferred to B. So B you may have the value 30. Now after this line come down. System out that println, it will print the result. Value of B is, what is B value? 30. Now come down. B equal to A equal to. So when you come to this place, is it A equal to 10? Now check what is A value? 10. Because still we are continuing in the program. Okay. Is A equal to 10? Yes. When the condition is true, what happens? You may see value if true. That is question mark after. So what is the question mark after? 20. The 20 will be assigned to B. So now in the place of 30, 20 will be overwritten. Okay. So now B value 20. Now the system is going to print value of B is, what is B value? 20. That's all. So, and then program will close. That means here it will check this condition or expression. If the expression is true, the value of the after question mark will be going to the receiving variable. If the condition is false, the colon after what the value is there, that will be going to receiving variable. So this is what the concept of conditional operator. Okay, observe this concept. How it works? This is the model. Okay. Now there is a small topic, that is what we say it as default value of data types in Java. Default value of data types in Java are the initial values of data types in Java. For example, we may observe it in a situations. The situation is int A. As you know already, int is a data type, A is a variable. This is called declaration statement. We are declaring variable. If I am going to give you A equal to 5, the value of A is 5. Up to it is okay. Up to it is okay. You may observe it. But the situation is I just to define into A. What will be the default value that will store? If you are going to give any value, that value will be stored. Just I declared it, I am not giving any value, I am not providing any value for A. That means Java automatically assigns some initial value in it. In C language, we may say that is a garbage value. In C language, that is going to take a garbage value. But in Java, it is object oriented. Especially when you are working with classes. When we are working with classes, it will take some default value instead of keeping garbage value. So, like this, for example, char yes. If you are going to assign a character, then there will be no problem. Here I am not giving any value for s, so that the JVM will initialize with a suitable value, that is called default value. What are the default values? That means default value of data types in Java. When you are defining any variable with int, what is the default value? When you are defining any variable with char, what is the default value? That we are going to see it now. Now see here, data type byte. When you define a data type byte, some yum. Now assume a location yum will be created. Byte belongs to integer type. There are different forms of integers. Byte, short, int, long. These four belongs to integer. So when you define a yum, it will take 0. By default, whether you are going to give a value or no value, it is going to take 0. That is the concept of byte. Whereas in C language, it takes garbage value. Because C is a function oriented, Java is object oriented. So that in the object oriented, every class has some initial value. What are the variables that are defining the class have some initial value. When you come to the short, when you define a short, any variable that you are defining short, yes, it will take 0. If you are defining any variable with int, without giving any value into that variable, it by default will take 0. Long also will take 0, but long is the long type, and especially it is 4 bytes. Sorry, it is 8 bytes. Okay, so integer is 4 bytes, long is 8 bytes. So it will take 0L. Here float. Again here float is a real type data type. It takes 4 bytes, and the initial value of the float is 0.0f. And double 0.0d, d represents double. Char, it will take u 0000. What is the meaning? Of course, somehow it is difficult to decode this value, because the specialty of the Java is Java character. In C language, the character occupies 1 byte, but in Java, character occupies 2 bytes. That is the difference. Java occupies 2 bytes. Because why it occupies 2 bytes? Because Java supports Unicode format. Universal code. So that's why every character occupies 2 bytes. That is the concept of this char. So in Unicode format, this represents, this value U00 represents blank or 0. Remaining everything is represented either binary format or ASCII format, but yes, only this char will allow only Unicode format. Suppose Unicode format. In Unicode format, the space are blank, the space are null, the space are null are 0, the space are 0, treat it as char. So this symbol represents space or 0. Where? In Unicode. Now coming to the string. String always the default value null. If you are going to give your name will be stored. If you are not going to give anything, it will take null. Boolean it will take, by default Boolean always takes false value. Whether you initialize it, if you are not initializing any Boolean variable, it will take false. Now according to this, you may see this example. Here I am defining a variable bool as a type of Boolean. There is a by variable with byte type, ch as char, d as double, f as float, I as integer, l as long, sh means short, str means string. I created all types of variables, that is Boolean variable, byte variable, char variable, double variable, float variable, int variable, long variable, short, string. So nearly I created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here there are 9 variables. After create 9 variables, what we are going to give? We have to initialize the value. But I am not initializing. Directly I am printing bool value. If you are going to give any value, then it will be displayed. But I am not going to give any value. By default, the boolean will give you false. I am going to print by type of byte. Byte will take always 0. Char, I given you U0000. So if you are not going to give any value, the system maintains some default values. System maintains some default values. The default values will be like this. If you are going to give double, what is the default value double? 0.0D. So it will give you 0.0D. If you are going to give float, the float also will be same, but the only difference is 0.0F. If you are going to give I always take 0 because it is integer, not 0.0. So whereas long, I given you 0L. L represents long. If you are going to give short is like integer 0. If you are going to print str, what is the str? String. String represents null. Whereas if you are going to give here in anywhere, if you are going to give I equal to 5, after that if you write to print I, instead of 0 it will show you 5. What are the value giving? That value will be projected. But the only thing is, you are not giving value. If you are not going to give any value, the system maintains its own values. That own values we say it as default value of data types in Java. Because as you know already, Java supports different data types. Among that, byte, short, int, long, float, double, char, string, boolean. Apart all these data types, one more data type it supports, that is called the number 1 data type, that is class. That means the class you are going to learn from Monday onwards. That is okay. So this is what the subject of this default values. So see this one clearly, what the default value the system is going to maintain. At the same time, you run this program. You run this program as it is. Run this program as it is. Okay. So you will get an idea. You will get an idea what values it is going to take by default. Okay. But basically these are the default values when we are defining a variable. When we are defining a variable. Okay. If you are going to give a value, no problem. If you are not going to give a value, it will take such type of default values. Okay. Dear students, this is today's section where I explained a series followed by default values. In tomorrow's section, I will give you a topic scope of variable and followed by special operators. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Hi everyone, this is Lavanya from Kakinada, currently pursuing my 8th semester of BTech in the stream of Electronics and Communication Engineering in Aditya College of Engineering and Technology.
Myself Bino from Aditya College of Engineering, pursuing 4th BTech in the stream of Computer Science and Engineering.
I am Sunanda, currently pursuing my BTech final year in the stream of Computer Science at Aditya College of Engineering and Technology.
I'm feeling great studying in Aditya Engineering College and getting a great opportunity and as well as in good support and training from all our faculties, HODs and placement cell.
And it's all because of Aditya, which helped me very much in every aspect of my learning.
After completing my plus 2, I thought of joining in the deemed university. But because of my parents' suggestion, I have opted Aditya College. When I entered the Aditya College, I have admired because of the beautiful sceneries and environment in Aditya College.
I'm very excited and proud to say that I got selected in one of the world's largest company, Amazon Web Services, with the CTC of 19 LPA.
In which I got selected for the role of Cloud Support Associate with a CTC of 19 LPA, which is the highest package among colleges in East and West Godavari districts in Andhra Pradesh.
I really felt elevated when I got to know that I have placed in Amazon with the 19 lakhs package.
Aditya is an amazing place which offers an unique combination of learning and self-development.
Aditya has also established a center called Technical Hub.
Which provides a various varieties of technologies for students.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you for providing this great opportunity to us.
I'm very happy and thankful to Aditya.
Thank you, Aditya, for giving me this golden opportunity. I am flattered to be an Adityan. Thank you.